Hey everyone, this is my review for Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. First off, let me just go ahead and rate this. The Force Awakens, I would rate it at probably a 7.5, personally. And it's definitely my top 5 Star Wars movies. Um, I know a lot of people give it hate because it's a rehash of A New Hope, but I mean, it does have its own characteristics and is definitely different from A New Hope. I mean, there are a lot of the same beats, but to me, it's still a solid film. Rewatching it today kind of made me realize that, you know, not everything is bad about the sequel trilogy. I feel that there are other things wrong in the sequel trilogy, um, aside from The Force Awakens, mainly in Last Jedi, which I'll review later. I don't think people give The Force Awakens enough credit. I don't understand what a lot of people's hate is for The Force Awakens, because there was so much hate around the prequels, and so Lucasfilm gives us this movie that's I hate to use the word rehash. I know I've said it a couple times, but Lucasfilm gives us The Force Awakens, which is like A New Hope 2.0, and I don't like that comparison. Like, I understand, it's a big Death Star type thing that they have to blow up, and they kind of did that in Return of the Jedi, and we're getting it for like a third time here. I think it's more than just a New Hope rehash. It's kind of a return to form for Star Wars. I mean, in the sense of going back to kind of like the original trilogy style. There's more. J.J. Abrams gave this movie a lot of puppets instead of using CGI, which honestly, it makes the film look so much better, and his use of practical effects. I know there's still CGI in this movie, but I mean, it's nothing compared to what the prequels were. And I love the prequels. I mean, my biggest criticism of the prequels is definitely the use of CGI in that movie, but or in that trilogy, but the sequel trilogy kind of brings it back to using more practical effects, more puppets instead of CGIing on a blue screen the clone army. Yeah, I like There's something in The Force Awakens that I recognized today watching it, and it made me realize that there's more tie-ins, I believe. I've seen The Rise of Skywalker twice in theaters, and I haven't seen it since this past January. Um, but there's things I connected from The Force Awakens to The Rise of Skywalker, and I can't wait to get to the Rise of Skywalker review tomorrow and be able to share those things, because I don't want to not spoil anything, but I want to come full circle and connect everything. So for me, The Force Awakens introduces Rey and Finn as our main leads in this movie, or for this trilogy. And, I really like their interactions throughout the movie. There's definitely like good chemistry, I'd say, between them, between the actors. One thing I think is funny is how Kylo Ren is portrayed in The Force Awakens as really emotional, when he starts beating the wall with his lightsaber and the stormtroopers are walking around the corner and they see it and they just back up. I think that's a great way to portray the Skywalker bloodline, because you have Anakin, who's very emotional and he's like whiny, and then Luke is portrayed as whiny in A New Hope, and Luke is portrayed as whiny in A New Hope. And so now you have Kylo Ren, who's not Luke's son, obviously, but he's another generation of Skywalker, and how he's just really emotional and angsty isn't the word, but he's very whiny, I guess. That's how I see that. I think it's very funny. I remember watching this for the first time in the theaters, and when there's the big reveal of Darth Vader's his grandfather, I was just like, all right, this is all going to be connected now, you know? One of the biggest things that I'm pretty sure a majority of fans, not that we didn't like, but it was just kind of, it hit home for Star Wars fans, is Han Solo dying. I know there was a lot of talk that not Han, Harrison Ford wanted to have Han Solo's character be killed off in episode 6, so getting killed off in episode 7 was kind of retribution, I guess. I don't think that's the right word that I'm looking for. But, but Harrison Ford, I know, was not happy about getting killed off. I don't think that's the right word. But I like that his character isn't over after The Force Awakens. And the ending fight scene between, well, initially between Finn and um, Kylo, and then Rey and Kylo. I I know a lot of people say that Kylo was hurt, so his fighting isn't 100% like his power, and then Finn gets a shot on him, I believe. Well, that pisses Kylo off, and then he fights Rey, and then Rey's kind of losing her ground a little bit, and then she has that moment where the Force just kind of takes over her, and I don't want to say beats Kylo. I think in the movie Snoke says, I don't think he says bested, but in my opinion, he was bested by Rey. It wasn't really he was defeated by her, um, because I think everyone knows that Kylo could beat Rey in that moment. He could for sure. I felt when I first saw this in the theaters that I was kind of let down by the lack of lightsaber fighting. I know I'm growing up on the prequels. There's so much like lightsabers going on, and there's so many more Jedi, and people are fighting more compared to just being like one Sith and one Jedi, um, or one active Sith and one active Jedi. But I feel like I was just kind of like let down because I felt like the fight was also very lackluster. Not that I'm looking for prequel style fighting, but I didn't feel like there was enough emotion in the fights compared to even that of the original trilogy. Anyway, that's my review on Episode 7, Force Awakens. Don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you next time. I feel that there are more things wrong with other movies in the sequel trip. I feel that there are other things wrong in the can't say it. Um, hey everyone, this is my review for Star Wars Episode 7, The Force Awakens. About wanting to go to Tashi Station. Can't speak today.